You guys ready, Sam? Whenever they're ready?
Yep. We're streaming.
This is a test.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Are we sounding race good?
You ready? You ready?
All right, everybody, welcome to Inside Saluki Women's Basketball with head coach Cindy Stein, and hello to all of our future listeners on 105.1 WVZA tonight. Thanks for joining us here in the Cook Club. Again, if you have questions, feel free to leave them up here. Abby Brockmeyer will join us here in a little bit as well. Well, Coach, we're about a month in now. Your team's 5-4. Where do you think you guys are at as far as a development standpoint is concerned?
Well, obviously we haven't peaked. I think that as much as I would like to go back and do some things differently against Western Kentucky, I think our team's getting better. And I think that I absolutely love this team and our talent level. I think they're a team that wants to get better. They're kids that work extremely hard. So I think that there's so many pieces in place. We just got to put it all together. And, every single game has a new learning situation for us, especially for those kids, the freshmen and sophomores that haven't been through those kind of scenarios. We're having to, teach and get them to adjust pretty quick on the fly, and I think that we're continuing to get better.
And you guys have played a lot of different types of games, some games in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even at Moorhead up in the 80s. Of those 9 games, where do you feel you guys have been at your best so far?
I think that we started out pretty well against UT Martin. I thought we were really in sync and high energy, and things were clicking. And there was times of every game, whether it was the Edwardsville game, whether it was the Moorhead State game, there's pieces of each game that were really, really sound. And then there's been great moments of defensive possessions, and there's been great play with hustle plays. We've had more kids on the floor this year than probably any year combined prior to this. So there's some really good traits there that we like that we're going to continue to build on.
This is a question from Jack here in the Cook Club. What's been your most pleasant surprise at this point so far?
Well, I like that, you always worry about your freshmen because, when a freshman decides to do something, usually you have no idea what it's going to be. But I really like our freshmen. I think that they play fearless. I love that. I think they're real gritty kids, and that's probably been the most pleasant surprise is the fact that, they're going to go ups and downs a little bit, but they continue to want to get better. They, show up every day to practice hard, and that would probably be the best surprise.
Also from Jack, what's been the most disappointing part so far of the season?
Well, our 5-4 record to me is disappointing because there's games out there that we should have won, but yet we didn't. So it's just a matter of we're not that far away. I mean, beyond our last game, I think that no one's really, busted our chops. So I think that we're continuing to get better. But, our record, I think that, there's probably maybe 1 or 2 games that I felt we should have lost, and the other ones were very winnable for us.
We talk about defense all the time, especially with your young team with 10 underclassmen. When you have youth, what typically develops first? Is it their offensive game or their defensive game?
I think their offense always kind of is there. And honestly, that's how we recruit them. We want scorers. So we know that we're going to have to teach probably a lot more defensive concepts. But, I think that the defensive stuff is coming. And again, we've had times where we're really, really good. But the toughest thing about defense is the intensity in which you have to play it for 40 minutes. And that's where, kids want to choose when they decide to play defense, and it has to be a constant. And we haven't gotten that part yet, but we're getting closer.
Coach Stein with us here on Inside Saluki Women's Basketball. Coach, just 2 more games left in the non-conference, heading to Puerto Rico here after final exams week. But the 9 games you've played so far, a bunch of different styles. Like we said, you've had to grind it out at sometimes. You've played high-scoring games as well. Of the styles that you have seen, how do you think it kind of emulates what you'll see in Valley play and has prepared you for conference play coming up.
Well, you know, there's some certain teams that we play, like a Northern Iowa, that runs a lot of different things, but tremendous scorers. And I think that, you know, we've played against that. I think playing Western Kentucky, for instance, I mean, you've got 5 kids that can shoot threes, they can attack the basket, they're going to change things up on you defensively. You know, that's a combination of an Indiana State and a Drake, and so all of that stuff makes us better. You know, even playing Martin Methodist, who played us tough, a team that we probably should have put away a little bit better. But just the fact that we had to go through that, where, yeah, this is a game that we possibly should win easily, but we have to battle every possession. I think it makes you, when you play some teams in the Valley that, you know, maybe you think that you're better than, you got to know it's not going to be easy. I mean, they're still going to continue to battle you for every possession. And I think going through that early, hopefully, makes you, the next time around when we start conference, it doesn't happen.
The Western Kentucky team that you played on Sunday, if the season ended today, they might be an at-large team in the NCAA tournament. What did you learn from playing a team of that caliber, and how can you apply it to the rest of the season?
Well, it's interesting because with the Western Kentucky team, I thought our first half defensively we were pretty good, but we didn't take care of the ball that well. And then the second half we took care of the ball a lot better, but our defense wasn't there. So, you know, it's just putting it all together.
Is that the best team you'll see all season long, you think?
You know, that's hard to say. I mean, I think that we've got some good Valley teams, and I think that every Valley team grows and gets better. And like Missouri State always plays a really tough schedule, so that they might not have a great non-conference win-loss record, but yet they're always ready to play conference. So you just got to make sure that you're improving as much as they are.
Throughout the first 8 games especially, your three-point numbers have been really good. Top half of the MVC and three-point percentage. What have you liked about the way your guards have played and specifically shot the ball?
Well, we talk a lot about making sure the good shooters are taking the good shots, and we've got quite a few kids that can hit that three. There's a couple of kids, Abby Brockmeyer being one of them, that is a good three-point shooter that we haven't gotten to shoot as many. But I love the way that we can put up the three ball. I think that that's definitely going to be a weapon for us down the course of the schedule.
That's a good transition. You must have done TV or radio before into our next segment with Abby coming up. That's head coach Cindy Stein here on Inside Saluki Women's Basketball. Again, we'll take your questions here in the Cook Club. Abby Brockmeyer coming up, Inside Saluki Women's Basketball from Learfield.
Ready, Sam?
Yep.
All right, welcome back to Inside Saluki Women's Basketball. To those of you listening on 105.1 WVZA and those here in our live taping at the Cook Club, we've got Abby Brockmeyer, freshman from Raymond, Illinois, just 2.5 miles north up the road here from Carbondale. Again, if you have questions for Abby or Coach Stein coming up, just leave them up here. Abby, it's finals week. How are the tests going?
Pretty good, not too bad. Kind of stressful, but they're going pretty well.
I know you said you're undecided as of a couple weeks ago. If finals kind of helped you figure out what you might want to major in?
No, if anything, it makes me want to drop out. But no, I'm kidding. Yeah, I haven't really swayed one way.
Well, in high school, you got a lot of notoriety, of course, for playing basketball, but you were pretty good at school too. 5.21 GPA at one point. How did you find that balance between getting it done on the court, but also getting it done in the classroom too?
Well, I really had no problem like studying, so I didn't really have to study a lot in high school. I mean, now I really do, but yeah, I just didn't really have to study, so it went well. I don't know.
I guess class was about as easy as it was adjusting to the college game for you with their first couple games. Two-time MVC Player of the Week award for you. What has been the biggest adjustment for you coming into the college game?
I would definitely say the speed and strength of my opponents. It's a lot different than high school. Like I said before, I'm having to get like position in high school or in college now. In high school, I could kind of just stand in front of someone and be open, but yeah, I have to work a lot harder to get position and be able to score.
Have you noticed a difference from UT Martin through Western Kentucky and how you've gotten better with positioning down there in the block?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Western Kentucky was definitely an eye-opening team. They were really good, so yeah.
When you walked out for your first college game, you're playing UT Martin, lights a little bit brighter than they were in high school. Were there some nerves?
A little bit, not too many. Yeah.
And then you go through, first 3 games. By the way, Abby was the first player in SIU history through 3 games to have 2 double-doubles. Pretty impressive. Big hand for her. Yeah, there we go. Big hand for Abby. And then you earn those 2 Conference Player of the Week honors, and you get a bigger part of the game plan from the other team. How do you think the teams have started to guard you a little bit tighter now that they have some film on you?
Yeah, they started guarding my like signature move, I guess, my spin move. So I've been trying to adjust from that, but yeah, I think they've been guarding me a lot tougher, knowing that I have the ability to score now.
What is that signature move?
The spin move.
Have you found a counter to that?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
What do you think the biggest strength is in your game right now?
Probably my rebounding. I can get good position on the offense board as well as the defense. So yeah, I think my biggest strength is my rebounding.
Abby Brockmeyer with us here on Inside Saluki Women's Basketball. We've got a question from the crowd here. How is it moving from a small high school to college, and what has been the biggest adjustment?
Definitely meeting new people. In high school, I lived in a town of about 950 people, so everyone knew everyone. And I think moving into college here, I've had to like go out of my comfort zone to meet people and do things differently.
How do you think that's made you grow as a person?
A lot. I think I've become a lot well-rounded person.
Has it helped you on the basketball court as well, being in a little bit bigger of an environment?
Yeah, I would say I communicate a little better than I would have.
Speaking of, growing up in a small town in middle school, one of the interesting parts of your background is you played with the boys team in middle school. What was that like to go over to the other side and play with the guys in middle school?
I think it shaped me into a really good basketball player, because I always get told that I play like a boy, and I said, well, that's because I played with the boys. But yeah, I think it's made me a lot tougher person and improved me.
How'd that help you in high school when you went back to the girls' side?
I honestly thought the girls were going to be a lot like not as rough, but it turned out they have nails and they scratch a lot more than the boys do. But yeah, it helps a lot.
What were some of the reactions from the guys you were playing with in middle school? Were they like, wow, this girl can really play. She's giving us a run for our money.
Yeah, a lot of the boys had the reaction like, well, how do I guard her? Like, how do I guard her? I was like, I'm just like any other player. I'm just a girl, so.
Were you the best player on that team?
I don't know, sure.
I think you're being humble. Well, then you go into high school, and you had a decorated high school career. You scored 1,000 points 1 minute into your junior year. Not just in your junior year, which is impressive to say the least, but 1 minute. What was that moment like to score your 1,000th point that soon in your high school career?
It was a really great experience for me, especially since I got to play at my home court. It was a great experience. I had like basically all my family there, so it meant a lot to me.
And in high school, you played with a player that we know, Mackenzie Sylvie, sitting right here in front. You played for her dad, too. What was it like to play with Mackenzie and also play for her dad?
It was a lot of fun. I think coming in now, we have a lot of chemistry, so it helped a lot coming in.
Mackenzie sway you to come here?
Yeah, a little bit.
How has that helped you adjust as a freshman, knowing that you have one of your former teammates with Mackenzie by your side through the whole season?
It makes it a lot more comfortable coming in, knowing someone's there if I need anything. it's helped a lot.
Well, Abby, thanks for your time, and please don't drop out of school. We can use you out there on the court. That's Abby Brockmeyer, freshman from Raymond, Illinois. It's Inside Saluki Women's Basketball from their field. Welcome back to Inside Saluki Women's Basketball here live at the Cook Club. We've gone dry on some questions, so if you have any, bring them on up here. We're back here with head coach Cindy Stein. Coach, let's talk about your freshman a little bit, Abby Brockmeyer. Of course, you put up crazy numbers in high school, 21 points per game as a junior, and that'll attract anybody's attention. But when you were recruiting her as a person, what was your first impression of Abby?
Well, I always liked the way Abby played, and the fact that I saw her basically in high school beat a press all by herself. She'd bring the ball up, pass to somebody, get it back, give it to the guard, then go low. She was doing everything herself. So she actually knew how to get open. She would get double and triple teamed down on the block, and she'd still muscle it up and score. She was able to hit threes as well. And so you just saw this well-rounded player. And I will say that when she was playing with McKenzie for Blue Star St. Louis for Jeff Sylvie, you just saw her game even grow even more. You just actually saw her probably run the floor at a higher clip, and just the way she was able to move, and you also saw what a great passer she was. And so that's all the things that she's doing for us as well. Sometimes it's hard to take her out when another team is pressing, because she handles the ball so well. She handles the ball like a guard. So she's throwing the ball in, she makes good decisions, and for the most part, she takes care of it, coming up and down the floor against the press. Those two made it pretty easy as far as the recruiting budget was concerned, didn't they? You didn't have to go very far. Well, we really tried to identify kids that were within, a 3 to 4 hour time frame that were the best. And honestly, when you talk about going to Edwardsville and watching McKenzie play, Edwardsville's got such an outstanding high school team and coach, and you just knew that she was so extremely well coached. Rachel Pulowski, the same thing, is that, she just played so hard. Those three specifically, we talked all along. Everyone that's ever asked us about this group is just, when we watched them play, there was just a grittiness in them that you didn't see in other kids. And there were some kids that were maybe more highly recruited, but to us, these kids were the best. And I think they're proving that. When you watched Abby and McKenzie play together in AAU, what did you notice about the way they played off of each other and together? Well, they're both similar in different things, in the fact that they both just have a high basketball IQ, which is something that's really hard to teach of kids. How do you move without the ball? And they both moved extremely well without the ball. They both were able to create a shot on their own, yet they really good passers. And that's one thing I know that, just watching the film from Western Kentucky, McKenzie had some incredible passes. And I don't think sometimes our posts are always ready for it, but she either drops it in their belly or bounce passes it to them that sometimes it's a surprise, but they're great looks, and she's doing a fantastic job. Of course, with talking with Abby and some of the other freshmen, there are a ton of adjustments coming into college alone, not just playing basketball, but you're ready to slide
all of your freshmen, all three of your freshmen have started at least one game. Why do you think they were ready for that challenge right off the bat?
Well, they both, they all bring different things. So I think, like Rachel, her defense intensity, her rebounding skills, I think her offense is going to come. And I think it's better than what she's probably shown once she kind of learns how to control her speed a little bit. But, her defensive things has really helped us come in and key parts when we have to have shut down the other team. And all of them have just helped in so many ways. It's just hard to say, but yeah, we were absolutely ready for them to play right away. And they've earned their spots. It wasn't like that was anything just granted to them. They've earned their time, and we've talked about the fact that we've got a number of kids that could start. Our starting lineup's going to continually change depending on our personnel. But those three are probably going to be in and out of the lineup all year, and I don't think they should worry about starting anyway because they're going to get good minutes because they're quality players.
We've talked about leadership too, especially with the young group, and with those three specifically, what signs of leadership either now or moving forward in the future in their career have those three shown?
Yeah, I think that they all communicate in their own way. I don't think any of them have this loud, booming voice that they're just going to broadcast, what we need to do. But I think they all do things in their own way. Abby tends to be a little bit more soft-spoken. Mackenzie reads things and will tell somebody out on the floor. Rachel is just really intense. She's probably a little bit more of the hype, getting kids fired up a little bit, encouragement. So they just all do something in their own way, which, helps it in that team format.
It's Inside Saluki Women's Basketball with Saluki Women's Basketball head coach Cindy Stein. We have an audience question here about the upcoming trip to Puerto Rico. Coach, what do you expect to see down there after the hurricane coming up this weekend?
Well, I've had a lot of people ask me that question of, why are you guys still going to Puerto Rico? 80% of it's devastated or whatever. And honestly, we need to go to Puerto Rico to help its economy as well. But they did a great job of the area that they have moved us to, such as the hotel. We're staying at the Intercontinental. If anyone has ever stayed at one of those, they're pretty nice. It's on the beach. It's in a really good area. Where we are going to spend the majority of our time was not hit as hard, and it's recovered. The playing facility is fine as well, but 80% of the country that is rural has had, obviously, a lot more work to be done. And, you don't help out Puerto Rico by not going to Puerto Rico. You help Puerto Rico out by going there, and we will look for different things as well. If there's something as a team that we can do to help out that scenario, we are obviously open to that. But we do have 2 games to play as well, and we want to have a great experience, but we have 2 really good opponents to play that we're going to have to focus on, and hopefully it will come out of there victorious.
I'll tell you, the Intercontinental, I think that's an invitation for some of the people here to come vacation with Saluki Women's Basketball, but also how, if at all, do you think some of the wreckage down there will affect the team's experience, if at all?
Well, we're going to do a team excursion on their last full day there. That's in Old San Juan. They did say that Old San Juan did not get hit as hard, so they'll still see what most tourists will go see. But I think it's also a great learning environment for you go down there and you look at that devastation and look at what does happen. And like I said, we will talk a little bit about if there's something that we can do that helps their community and their citizens. We will be all in.
We talked about the Moorhead and Marshall trip and how you guys were gone for so long and how that type of trip really brings your team together. Being, across water, away from friends and family, close to Christmas, how do you think that'll bring your team closer?
Well, I think that, teams always spend a lot of time together, and this is just you're spending a lot of time together in a very exotic area that can be a lot of fun. I think just the more our team spends together in different scenarios, I think it always helps your chemistry on the floor. You constantly see kids that are best friends off the court play really well on the court together, so you just continually improve that chemistry, and I think it always pays off.
Coach, we're looking forward to the sunshine. Thanks for the time today.
All right, thank you.
That was head coach Cindy Stein. Thanks to Abby Brockmeyer for joining us as well. And those of you who are here in the Cook Club joining us as well. Our next broadcast of Saluki women's basketball, if you can't join us in Puerto Rico, is the 19th. Albany's on the schedule at 1 p.m. That one will air on 97.7 WHET. Thanks to those who have listened on 105.1 WVZA, and thanks for joining us here today from the Cook Club. This has been Inside Saluki women's basketball from Learfield.